here we go. And it's been like some McCRAZIES stuff going on around this camp. So what we got here is story number one. It happened in Ohio, and Ohio McDonald's manager has been fired after throwing a blender at the face of a customer during an argument inside a fast food establishment. Brittany Price suffered a broken nose, broken cheekbone following the incident, which took place at a McDonald's near Ronald Reagan Highway in Colleran Township. And Price said the argument started when she came inside the store to complain about a mistake with her drive-through order. Surveillance footage obtained by the news channel shows Prince patiently waiting after complaining about her order while her 4 children stayed in the car. She said the other customers were also affected by the argument she had with staff. I wasn't the only one that got frustrated, watching the video. We see a lot of people that see me and her talking, trying to resolve the issue, and they're like, I'm not dealing with this, and so they left. However, what happened was the lady, just like after about 20 minutes of waiting on the manager to resolve the issue, the manager came up and started an argument with the lady, and so the lady was like, she just basically took the food and just said, here, So in retaliation, the manager picked up a blender and threw it at the lady, knocked the lady down with the blender. She hit her so hard she fell on the ground, and she suffered a black eye and broken cheekbone and a broken nose. And so the manager eventually got fired for throwing the blender, and no charges were ever filed against the customer. And so far, this thing is kind of up in the air. It's a possibility that there might be charges filed against this manager for assault. And so that's just McCrazy stuff going on out there. So here's McCrazy story number 2. Police in Illinois have launched an investigation after another woman allegedly shattered a burger chain's drive-through window last week in response to a delayed order. The suspect, who has not been identified, fled the scene after the incident, which took place last Thursday at a Steak and Shake located at 3200 North University Street in Peoria, Illinois. The customer, who approached in her car, became enraged after making an order shortly after midnight, according to the police obtained the local newspaper. It was not immediately clear how long she had been waiting for her food, but was clearly not happy. This female became irate and acted erratically, the report said. She came to the drive-through window, and she picked up something and she threw it at the window, and she shattered the glass at the drive-through window. And so she threw a glass bottle at the drive-through window, causing it to break. Staff members were unable to record the car's license plate number, explaining what likely sparked the conversation. Peoria law enforcement wrote, they were short-staffed. It was also very busy, which caused a delay. The woman appeared to be driving in a Buick or Honda that was either silver or tan in color. Local news website reported that there were no injuries as a result of the altercation, and the police department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So they never found the person, and they were never able to find the person that actually threw the bottle through the window. So it's a lot of stuff like that happening. So now I did a little more research, and I ran up on this particular story here, which it says why so many fights break out in fast food restaurants. So I'm gonna do this is my investigative prowess here. So I'm gonna tell you exactly why this happens. When I go to a property that's completely out of control, I find that the employees and managers are frightened. If you've ever been to a fast food restaurant late at night for a life-saving dose of starch and cheese, you might may not have felt a certain air of tension in the dining room. And if you were really in the wrong place at the wrong time, that tension may have even spilled over into a full-on confrontation, possibly involving fire extinguisher attacks, windows being smashed due to mischievous customers. One particular rowdy McDonald's customer in Glasgow, Scotland, recently resorted to playing classical music in an attempt to encourage calm behavior among late-night diners after police were called to the restaurant for 200 incidents in the last 14 months. A subtle method of crowd control has subsequently been adapted at other England and Australia, though a Burger King also used it last year to great effect in order to deal with loitering. So they started playing classical music at these fast food joints at night. So with videos that range from the absurd to the downright disturbing, but with fast food violence being such fodder for viral videos and local news coverage, it would be skewing our collective view of perils of eating fast food. So, why do fast food establishments seem to be such hubs of violence? The answer, according to Chris McCRAZIES, needs to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Says some restaurants are flat out dangerous, most are not, he explains. The ones that do have problems can often be isolated to a time of day, then you can manage it. In other words, what makes one franchise more dangerous than another one comes down to the confluence of factors that range from logistical to economic. When I do an evaluation, I evaluate the premises. Said with any company that's consulting with me or doesn't know how to fix it, I have to go to the location, make my observations, interviewing staff, reading police reports, and the history of what's happening there before, he says, and a great indicator of what's going to happen in the future. So he said, Van Fleet agrees that the issue of violent crime at fast food locations is a complex one. Due to a part of lack of academic research, there's a whole flock of reasons that add up to fast food restaurants, he says, but there isn't enough research to suggest what the major causes are. So I'm trying to get to the key factors here. And so it says one of the key factors here is to make fast food restaurants more vulnerable to violent crime. There tends to be a lot of cash, and the workers tend to be young and untrained when it comes to dealing with the emergency situation, he says. They open early and they close late, and they tend to be located in easy to access locations so people can get there easily and leave easily. So that's one thing. Practically speaking, Chris has seen a lot of time the factors played in his consulting work. Some of the biggest problems are structural and not logistic, namely seating, location, and the presence of drug users and drunk people. But most corporate fast food models have seating inside. Anytime you have open seating at a restaurant, it's open late and it's well lit, it becomes a gathering place to hang out and loiter. Certain groups may tend to hang out there for extended periods of time, and they become hangouts for certain groups, and you're going to have problems because they could come up against other groups they might have problems with. Ironically, the very characteristic that makes fast food restaurants convenient also make them easily accessible to criminals, as it was with convenience stores and gas stations. Most of the high crime restaurants are in urban areas with fairly dense population, operate 24 hours a day, and are usually on major thoroughfares or adjacent to highway and freeway exits, and it makes highly desirable for highway robberies, he said, since the assailants can be completely in a different area within minutes. So you add drugs and alcohol to the mix, and you have a very high-risk scenario. Some of the worst restaurants I worked became the place for drug sales because it's automatic traffic. It's a perfect place for someone who sells drugs to hang out and to make it a meet-up place. So they're saying that alcohol, drugs, said people are under the influence or intoxicated and that's not always a good thing when people are coming together and it aggravates the situation. So ultimately, it's the staff of the fast food restaurants who are left to contend with and sometimes brutal and unpredictable violence, and it takes a lot more to fix economic issues than just flicking on some boctoons. Fast food restaurants tend to have less security than other businesses. And also, there's a high employee turnover in these restaurants, so the value of training isn't obvious. This, he says, leaves them particularly vulnerable and underprepared for eruptions of violence, as he calls them. So it's a lot of different. And then you got then the service workers, for what they're getting paid, they're not going to want to get involved in trying to control what's going on. If it's any kind of problems, they like, hey, I only make $6 an hour. I'm not about to get into a fight with you over this food. It ain't my food. I just work here. So, hey, I can understand that, So the managers are the ones, they said employees and managers are pretty much scared to death and they're trying to deal with these situations when they arise. And, they hire a security guard, but, security guards, he only making, $7, $8 himself. So it's like, he just like, well, you want me to protect your business, you need to pay me a little more money. And employees feel the same way the guards do. You want me to protect these Mac burgers over here, you better give me some more Mac money. Yeah. Mac crazy, I'm telling you.
News time, baby.
It's Mac crazy.
It's news time. It's news time, baby.
It's Mac crazy. Mac crazy out here. Keep your eyes open when you go to McCRAZIES. Peace.